Welcome to this week's review. Relatively busy week. Three trades taken, four actually, holding one. That's pound NZD. Holding that short, but closed three trades. Two winners, one loss, and we're up about 0.7% on the week. Um, this week's risk was 0.25% per position. That's because we are in phase two of the trade building protocol. Yeah, and the initial 2 weeks are traded at a lower risk of 0.25%. So heading into this new week, I'll be upping that to 0.5%. Yeah, so excited for that. Um, to yeah, really take advantage of the moves that are in. Because yeah, while 0.25 means that the losses are incremental and you don't really feel anything, the same kind of can be said for the upside. Um, so yeah, I think in this last 2 weeks it's been um, the timing of being in the first 2 weeks of the protocol has made sense just because it's been the first 2 weeks I've been back in the market after taking a 2 week break over festive. And so I think the first 2 weeks has allowed me to build the momentum, make, those small subconscious errors that are really normal after taking a bit of a break, as you refamiliarize yourself with the plan and as you get back into the swing of things. And so also, I think just to have a period where as I've been getting back into execution mode, being mindful of yeah, I think just getting into a good rhythm of executing and um implementing the lessons from the daily nuggets and just the ongoing ICT mentorship, and getting into a bit of a flow with that. It's going to feel good to kind of gear up and enter this week on just risking a bit more. So looking forward to that. But just recapping the week, how many trades taken? Three. How many met the plan? Three. What the risk level was of each trade. They were all low risk, so there was Euro Ord short and two Ord JPY short positions. The Euro Ord was a partial profit. Ord JPY was a loss. The first one, a loss at half risk, and then the second Ord JPY was also a partial profit. And so, what did I learn this week? Um, from one of my lectures in the mentorship, learned a bit about vacuum blocks, which is essentially how to effectively interpret gaps for either continuation or reversal. Um, Second was noting that I need to manage my expectations as the ideal pair may not meet my trade parameters to give me entry confirmation. And this is going back to the observation on filtering your watch list for the week, which we kind of opened the week up with. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. Um, yeah, the daily nuggets, whether it's here on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. That was quite a cool series. And so some key takeaways from there. And then I think as part of the insights gained there, I also kind of noted that I need to track missed trades on pairs that weren't added to my list to observe whether I'm missing something in my weekend forecast, which are leading to missed trades. And so really, if you followed my filtering process, you know that once I refine my list to about 10 pairs, that's where it becomes a bit more difficult. And I think where the skill of refinement really goes a long way, because what I'm noticing is that there are pairs which are filtered out at that sort of second stage. And those pairs, uh, there are setups or opportunities in the week that I miss on those pairs. And I think that's okay because I've obviously filtered them out for a reason. But I think it's just noting that I need to monitor that on an ongoing basis to make sure that, the opportunities that I'm choosing to focus on aren't taking away from, better opportunities that are playing out better during the week. And so kind of just linking the forecasting that I do to then the review process, which kind of all contributes to the improvement at the end of the day. And then the last thing is how to obviously simply define a 1 hour range, as well as the confluence of factors which are important to me based on my edge. And that deals with the current observation and the insights that I'm generating as part of that, which deal a lot with refining our entries on the 1 hour range. And it's just kind of taught me that there were a few concepts or a few areas in my plan where I actually wasn't fully clear on, where you kind of have a rough idea of what something is, but I think you really realize once you start explaining something, um, you kind of get a unbiased um, reflection or interpretation of your actual level of understanding. Because I'm kind of realizing that if I struggle to explain something on, my daily nugget or whatever, if I'm having a conversation with someone, then it's usually because there's a lack of understanding there. And so that was something I learned this week, which is something I sort of realized I wasn't fully clear on. And so heading into the new week, what is the most important thing I need to work on improving? Definitely my time management. That being said, it was a crazy week, but this week there were a few backtesting sessions towards the end of the week, which weren't prioritized, or the adequate focus was missing during that session. And these backtesting sessions are quite crucial for the scripting of my daily nuggets and the value that I ultimately then provide through those. And if, I'm not utilizing the time that I set aside to do the work in those blocks, then it's going to have a knock-on effect on, the quality of my daily nuggets. And I think just it's going to impact, the scheduling and, the production of it, because if I'm not well prepared for a, production session, whether we're shooting or editing, then um, yeah, it kind of just adds more stress in the long run. So that's something I want to work on improving this week. And then what is the most important thing I should continue doing this week? And that's executing aggressively and consistently, as the low risk criteria of my plan currently limits a lot of trades from being taken. So it makes it even more important to capitalize on the opportunities which do present themselves. Um, yeah, I think that's self-explanatory. And so I think a positive week, all in all, feeling like I'm in a good flow with the market. I think the additional pairs that I'm able to add to my weekly watch list are helping with the frequency of setups that I take, and that if there's no opportunity on something, then there's no hesitation to just move on and look for opportunity elsewhere, as opposed to the past where I may have, tried to force opportunity out of pairs where there was really nothing there. Um, and so, yeah, this is the position that I'm holding on pound NZD. It was essentially a counter trend play, because you see we're dealing within this daily range here from the low up to that high, and then saw price coming into internal range liquidity to then obviously come up to external. And so price on the 4 hour is still in that counter trend, and so we've kind of been impulsing lower, correcting higher, impulsing lower, correcting higher. And after we reached equilibrium, and we are actually on a daily order block, I just haven't marked it up. We started correcting higher, and I see that more as a draw on liquidity to sweep that to the downside. And so I've shorted in there, and looking just to take that to the equal low and, beyond if price continues to run. But ultimately, I think once we get into, because we've fallen just short of the 70.5%, then yeah, we're going to start seeing deceleration and possibly then even establishment to the upside. And so this was the entry. I think I've taken the stop off. That was the entry, quite clean. A bit of drawdown, but ended up displacing lower soon after taking that entry. Stops are currently at break even, and just waiting for price to break this low here, where I'll then start trailing stops as we, begin to trade lower. So seeing price continue lower right down into minimum area of these equal lows here, which gives about 3% odd. But yeah, potential for price to head much, much lower on the daily if we're looking at this full optimal trade entry range, just getting to the end of that. Um, so yeah, that is the current pound NZD position. This is my Alpha Capital account, just for the transparency. See, we are up on the balance, now sitting at about -3%, in terms of the drawdown. Um, and yeah, just clawing back at that slowly, but surely. Um, so that is the second week of trading. Remember, guys, consistency is the choice you make when you start doing the things you know you should be doing day in and day out.